make sure that it's going. Okay, there it is. Hi, this is Ms. Dupree, and I'm conducting an interview with Ms. McDonald. And Ms. McDonald has a few positions, and I'll let her introduce herself and explain what roles she has at Alexander Preparatory. I will also be asking her a few questions during the interview, and we'll begin now.
Hello, everyone. My name is Miss McDonald, and I am the counselor at Alexander Preparatory School. I am the pre-K through fourth grade counselor. I'm also the 504 chairperson, and I also am the MTSS chairperson that helps with if parents have concerns or teachers have concerns about students and their academic concerns. I'll come in and help out with that.
Okay, so my first question would be, is there a routine that you follow every day before you get started throughout the day?
No, there's really not a routine that I have at school because being a counselor, you never know what's going to be planned for the day. I know every morning when I come in, I do have morning duty, so I'll be greeting the kids and talking to the kids and stuff like that. And then I try to check my email first thing so that way if there's any major concerns or things that have happened the teachers or parents email me from that night, I can address them as soon as possible. But for the most part, every day is different. I also try to check in with the kids in the morning who I know just might need a little check-in. So I might check in with them at the start of the day.
Okay. So we'll begin with a little bit more on the parent-student part. If you have a situation, for example, what would be your protocol to any situation, whether it may be severe, or we can start with severe. So your protocol would be to, and you can just say steps as far as it being a situation that is severe or not severe.
Well, there's different protocols for every different situation.
Okay.
If there was a teacher that was concerned about a student, most of the time they would just send me an email or catch me in the hallway just to talk to me about the concern. Most of the time I'll say, please email me. That way I can have their name and ID number, and then I'll go to the office and call them and talk to them. So that's if the teacher just had a concern.
Okay.
If there was a major concern, the teachers have my cell phone number, so they would text me and I would come right away and get that student. And depending on what the concern is, would be the different protocols that I would take.
Okay. As you being in the SPED committee, SPED 504 committee, what kind of duties or responsibilities do you have in that role? I want to make sure you're in the
So
video. Okay.
I'm not over SPED, I'm the 504 chairperson. So what I would do in that situation is if a parent had some outside testing done, then I would, and they were asking for a 504, then I would gather all the information that they have. I would give them certain information, and then we would come together as a committee and decide if this student qualifies for 504. So I would just kind of lead the meeting, but as a committee together, we would decide whether or not that student qualifies. If the parent is wanting dyslexia testing, then there would be other forms that I hand out to them. Then I would send that to the section 504 department. They would come out and evaluate, and once they come out and evaluate, they would say, let's set up a 504 meeting. And then again, I would send out all the information for the 504 meeting, and as a committee, we'll decide or not whether or not that student qualifies, and if they do, what accommodations they are needing in order to support that student.
Oh, okay. So once the support is put in place, and they have the teacher ready, the parents have agreed to the support. At any point in time, do you ever come back and intervene or set up another meeting throughout the school year?
So what I would do is, once we have the meeting and if they qualify, my job is to make sure that the teachers have, the 504 plan. Once I send the 504 plan to the teachers, it is now their responsibility to make sure they are following those guidelines. Because I've sent it to you, you've had them, so either you sent me a red receipt saying you have it or you've signed for it. Right now it's a little different because it's virtual, but once you have that plan, it is now the teacher's responsibility to make sure that it is followed. As far as when it's like a 6 weeks test or a common assessment, especially those big tests, we'll just kind of make sure that there's no updates and changes to the plan, to make sure that's always included when they're taking their tests. But in the classroom, it's really the teacher's responsibility to make sure that they are following that plan, and the teachers should know the accommodations for their students. Now, I will check in with the teachers and say, do you have any questions when I send off the plan? If you have any questions, then of course I'm available. And then if the teachers have concerns or the parent have concerns and they want to revisit the plan, we can always come together, but again, as a committee, or we can decide whether or not updates and changes need to be made.
Oh, okay. At what point in time do you have to check in with administrators or give them any paperwork, or they're involved in the 504? And this is just checking from the administrator's point, working with you.
Well, from the counselor standpoint, or just with all my roles, I do meet with the principals once a week. We meet every Thursday, and then I'm also part of the A-team committee, so I also meet with them on Fridays. So I meet with them pretty much twice a week. As far as the administrator's role, as far as the 504 meetings, they are invited, but as a counselor, I'm also an administrator.
Oh, okay. Last but not least, how has COVID affected counseling or 504 at your campus, dealing with parents, students, administration? Do you feel that it's affected any of the process?
I think across the board. I don't think it's just here at the school. I think it's across the board with everyone. COVID has really just made a difference in how we do our instruction. And so when we talk about counseling, they're coming to school and they have academic, where they have to learn things, but now they're on a tablet or a computer. So academically, the classroom looks different than how it normally would. But then you also have those home and outside factors that they're bringing in to school. Some parents are affected by COVID, siblings, grandparents are affected. So that comes to school as well, as far as how they're feeling emotionally. And then you also have other factors like parents might not be working now, or, job loss. And so all those factors come into school, and then they're still expected to, carry on. So all of that is a major part of things that I've noticed. I don't think that's just here though. I think that's, across the board. As far as 504 cases, everything has now moved to virtual. So we are having virtual meetings. And so where we would normally be face to face, we're now online. And so when it's time to give the parents their forms and everything, we are now doing it virtually.
Okay. All right, this is Ms. Dupree, and this is me closing it off, but I thank you, Ms. McDonald, for your little interview with me, and I appreciate all the information and feedback that you've given me.